Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari, and today I want to talk to you about the 3 phases of spiritual liberation, of the spiritual path, because a lot of people get stuck in phase 1. Actually, of course, a lot of people don't get in any phase. They're still stuck in complete illusion of material reality. They're just stuck in just a superficial mentality. So it's wonderful already. Anybody who's even started on phase 1 is already like a very special, wonderful person. And if you're watching this, I suspect you're probably one of these wonderful people who has in fact started their spiritual journey. But let's talk about that today, because it's very important to understand the full thing and not get stuck in phase 1. So what's phase 1? Phase 1 is when you're just looking around. I mean, again, you've finally woken up. There has been an awakening. We can use this term because you were there in your little, day-to-day grind of material life, and you're like a little, like a donkey with the blinders, and you're just like, and you were just stuck in you're like a material conception of life, superficial reality, just weren't going anywhere. And then all of a sudden something happened and you're like, whoa. And then you start looking around and you wake up. It really is an awakening. You're like, oh wow, there's another dimension. Wow, look at this. There's Bhagavad Gita, there's Yoga Sutras, there's the Bible, there's, this tradition and that tradition. And you're looking around and it's like, oh wow, the mind can be different and perception can be changed. So it is a wonderful moment. So we start looking around and then we see so many things, because this is the nature of, these days we have everything available just on YouTube, on the internet in general. So we see everything, and then we start mixing things up. We'll do a yoga retreat, and then we'll do some Buddhist meditation, and then we'll get some crystals, and we'll do something else, and and then we're just mixing everything up. And maybe I'll study some some interesting ancient Aborigine techniques, and I'm just going everywhere. Some people actually travel around the world and they do this and that and do this kirtan, and you're just mixing everything up. And everything is wonderful, because everything is wonderful. Once you start, getting your head out of matter, it is wonderful. I mean, all these traditions that exist, they exist because they have effect. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, if you're doing yoga, if you're doing, it's all wonderful. It's like they all have something. You seance, whatever. It's like, wow, something new is happening. You're perceiving reality from a different perspective. So it is amazing. And they're all super cool. And they're like, wow. And so you see all these amazing things, and you perceive this and that, and you hear this guru and that teacher from that tradition, and the other tradition, and it's all wonderful. And it is, again, it is all wonderful. They all, it's wisdom, and wisdom is beautiful everywhere you find it. It's very nice. But then, because it's all very nice, people get stuck in phase 1 thinking, you know what? This is it. I have to just accept everything. This is the way. These people who just do one thing, and then they think no, this is the proper thing, is to accept everything. Because if you just do one thing, these people who just accept one thing, they're limiting themselves. They are, they don't get it. They don't see it like I see it. I'm seeing how, wow, wonderful everything is. These poor schmucks, they're limiting themselves to one thing. I kind of feel sorry for them, because they're very limited, they're just doing the one thing. But I'm just doing everything, because this is the path. This is a premature conclusion. And I'll tell you why. Because you're just one person. So these different paths, they're actually choices. And if you refuse to choose any of them, you've just made another choice. You've chosen to accept everything. That's a new thing. People don't get this. That is a new thing. So you get the Bible, you're okay, Jesus, this is it. And it depends on you're learning. Let's say you're have a Pentecost. Okay, this is how they're teaching about Jesus. And this is how they're studying the Gospels. So if you think, okay, that's nice, but you know what? I like doing a bit of Krishna kirtan. But whoa, Those guys are telling you not to do Krishna Kirtan. That's not the thing they were teaching. No, Jesus didn't teach anything about doing Krishna Kirtan. And Krishna, he wasn't teaching all these things about the cross and the sins and all that, he wasn't. That was just their thing. Krishna never mentioned anything about that. So if I am accepting that, I am not accepting what Krishna was teaching. I'm doing something else. And if you're accepting the Krishna, you're not doing the Jesus thing. So you're rejecting, you think that you're accepting. People who are like, no, I accept everything. But actually, they're rejecting everything. It's a very, like, this sounds very weird here, but think about it. If you don't accept one thing, you're actually rejecting that thing, and you're creating another thing entirely. Now I'm doing a new thing. Jesus didn't quite get it, Krishna didn't quite get it, Buddha didn't quite get it. You know what? I figured it out. It's a bit of everything. They didn't understand. You know, they were missing out. These people didn't get it. I get it, and it's a bit of everything. That's what you're saying. Like, you're not consciously saying that, like, no, I'm so humble. But actually, you're being not humble at all, because you're rejecting all these preceptors and prophets, God, and all these messages and traditions. You're rejecting these thousands and thousands of years of practice of these traditions. And you say, you know what? You guys didn't quite get it. Thank you, though. I like some of your stuff. You got some good things going. But you didn't quite get it. I get it. I got it. So now I'm doing a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that thing. This is the thing you guys didn't quite get, but thank you very much anyway. That's what you're saying. It's crazy, but that's what you're saying. You're doing a new thing. You're rejecting everything, and you're doing a new thing, which is, you know, like, wow, that's, you just started, and now you're already like, on the level of being a prophet or something, an avatar, because you're bringing an entirely new path. That's what you're doing, because this is a new path. So you see, by not choosing, you are choosing something else. You're rejecting what there was, and you choose. So that's a big trap of phase one. So how do we avoid that big trap of phase one? We have to go to phase two. Now, phase two is the serious phase. So the searching phase is phase one. You looked around and you said it was wonderful. But now phase two is you've done that looking around, and that path, well, that one answers my questions more. That one rings truer to me, satisfies my needs, my questions. You know, that one has that problem, that one has that one. Oh, that one's looking good. I think that's the best one. So you looked around, wow, that one. And then if you want to be serious, you will dedicate yourself to that one path, to that one guru. That's why the worship of the guru. You have to have the one guru. You have to focus on the one thing. We just did a video on the whole idea of worship the guru. That's the one thing. You need that intensity of one path. And then in phase two, okay, I'm just going to concentrate on this path, on this guru, on his instructions, on his practice, his or her practice, just one thing. And I'm not going to be doing a million things. I'm not going to be going to that, if I'm just doing the 3D, that's all I'm doing, the 3D. I'm not doing the Buddhist retreat, I'm not doing the Jewish thing, and I'm not doing the ayahuasca, I'm just doing this one thing. Why? Because we have to go deep. Transforming your consciousness is a real thing. You really will transform. It really happens. It's not just like, you actually do completely change your consciousness. That's what we're doing. We're working our minds. We're changing the very perception of reality, the perception of ourselves, of everything else, of God. We're actually really changing that completely. It's not like a light, it's not like a little thing. It's like a serious, intense process. It's for real, guys. You really do change your consciousness, your mind. So you go deep, and in that deep phase, then you're just like, you have to narrow your focus. I have to narrow my focus. I can't be a great, I can't be like a world-class tennis player, horse rider, ice skater at the same time. Not possible. I can like all these things, they're all wonderful, but I'm going to have to choose one thing to get world-class at. And so phase 2, this is it. This is your path to liberation. This is no joke. This is something that will require, decades of work. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, that was nice, that was a cool retreat. No, this is your priority for your life. It's like I say, there are billions of men and women in the world, but you end up marrying one. Because you couldn't have that deep relationship with 100 of them, if you're just changing every weekend, if you're just getting a new person, out of Tinder every other day, you won't have the depth. Oh, but I'm missing out. Yeah, but you can go deep now. And you can experience things because you went deep with one person that you could never have if you were just having a different partner every other day. You just could never have it. Same thing with the spiritual path. By going in one, by accepting one guru, not just one path, but one guru within one path, then you can go so much deeper that you could not experience any other way. And like marriage, you get married, you do the big fuss, you do the party, the ceremony, you vow before God, in family, in friends, this is until death do you part. Yes, it's like this, the whole thing, because this is for real, this is for the rest of our lives. That's how you have to start your marriage like that, right? You can't start like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. No, you have to be like, yes, that's it. I have chosen you. Yes. And then you go for it. And then, of course, it may not work out. 2 years later, you may divorce. That's okay, but you went for it. You went deep. You tried. Same thing with the spiritual path and the guru. Go deep. If it doesn't work, it's okay. You can get a divorce. You can oh yeah, I went really deep, but I ran into a serious problem. There was a weird thing there, got creepy. I wasn't answering this one question. This thing was obviously lacking. So then you go back to phase 1. Okay, wait a second. So then you look around again. You do this, do that, do the other thing, study this. Oh, maybe and then you try again. Same thing with marriage, right? You do, it was this person, and you get married. Oh, it wasn't this person. You get a divorce. But you don't give up. You're like, it's this person. And then you go deep again, so you try again. Same thing with spiritual path. Go deep. And then when you're going deep, then you're limited. Then you're no longer doing everything, okay? This is I'm just doing this one thing, so I'm not going to be studying everything and going everywhere and hearing the talks of different gurus. No. I'm going to start really deep, just this one thing, boom. And you do that seriously for years and years, just total focus. Because that allows you to go deep. Then, and if it worked out, you achieved, you're enlightened, you've gotten it. You do get it. You are supposed to get enlightened. It's not like, oh, nobody gets enlightened. No, you're supposed to get enlightened. That's what you're not here just to not get it. You're supposed to get enlightened. Krishna says everybody can get enlightened in this life. So you do it until that's it. You're seeing it. You're seeing all those truths. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you have pratyaksha of the Dharma. You've seen everything, the essence of everything, Dharma. You're seeing the essence, pratyaksha. You're having direct experience, perception. So you've gotten to this point, and now phase 3, now you're enlightened. Now you can again open wide your search. Then you can study this and do that course and do this and listen to that teacher and that teacher. Now you can do these things because now you're seeing things as they are. So now you can look around and then you be able to, just make sure that you chose the right thing. If you look around, it's like, oh, wait a second, that's better. No, you'll see that you got the right thing. And you'll be able to like pick little pearls of wisdom, you know, like, oh yeah, look, I'll just see some of the pearls I've picked up. You're like, oh look, in Zen Buddhism, you know, to focus on attention. Oh, that's something I had that in my tradition, but let me just focus on that. And oh look, they're talking about compassion there, so I can work a little more on that. Oh, he's talking about dedication and sacrifice there. Oh, that's something I should, you know, look at it. And then you can like, you know, appreciate and try to increase that aspect, because it wasn't your tradition anyway, but you hadn't focused on it so much. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look into that now. Oh yeah, it's important about, he's mentioning here the importance of this kind of behavior and that, you know, just the minute things, and you pick these things up and it just enriches you. You're still on your path, you complete, and then it just makes you, and maybe at this point you're already a teacher, so then you can also share these things, and you can share, you know, it enriches your teachings as well and your understanding of other paths, so that in this phase you open up again. So those are the three phases. You're opened up, you're completely focused, and then you open up again. And you have to go through the phases to really get the most benefit. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think. If you think this makes sense, leave your comments below or your questions, and have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.